Really interesting to read Eric Dyer today, actually. Good on him, because obviously Tottenham lost, saying, great there was a proper derby again. Because he said it had got a bit colourless in the last few years. It was back, wasn't it? Proper derby.
Do you know, it's just been a week of football where you go, that's the Premier League, isn't it? You know, Tottenham schooled Chelsea, took them apart, and then you're thinking, I was thinking on the morning of the game, I'm thinking, yeah, Tottenham, I fancy Tottenham against Arsenal. Arsenal can't win this 1-0. I said that, but didn't see a 4-2 coming. I was predicting a 3-1 Tottenham, the way they've been playing, you know, against Chelsea and got the win against Inter. So that's a massive shock, but a real statement win from Arsenal, that one. They put a real marker down.
Yeah, there had to be goals in a game like this. There's too much quality on show going forward. Didn't expect as many as I've seen. And I didn't expect Arsenal to have it in their locker to come back like they did. No. I really didn't. I didn't think they... that soft underbelly that I thought Arsenal had has now on its way out. It's becoming a habit.
They beat them up, didn't they, first 20 minutes?
Yes.
Then the comeback.
Yeah.
No, brilliant. Very, very good.
Arsenal have not led a Premier League game at half-time yet. And after half an hour, you would think, well, they probably will now, and they're 2-1 behind at half-time.
Very, very early. It's sort of Ian Wright-esque the way. He doesn't give the goalkeeper a chance to try and set. A little bit of Dion Dublin, but he kept it on target. Right? He didn't blaze it over the bar. But no, 20, I think, in 27 he's got.
Yeah, first to double figures in the league this season.
And there were statements from Unai Emery as well. You know, Ramsey was on the bench, no Ozil in the squad. Lacazette was on the bench.
Literally think, hold it a minute, we better just... whereas Arsenal just went bam, bam, bam. They passed so quickly.
Unai Emery was smart, though, wasn't he? Because I think he realised before the game, we ain't winning this 1-0. If we score, there's no chance we're keeping Dele Alli quiet, Son, Eriksen, Harry Kane. They're going to get chances. They're going to get 1 or 2 goals. Maybe 1, he would have thought, worst-case scenario. But we're going to have to pick a team and a bench that at any given time, we're going to have to outscore Tottenham.
You know what I like about the Arsenal of late is that they're listening to the manager. They're doing what the manager wants them to do. They've got a little bit of personality about them. Very much the swagger they had with, you know, Vieira and Petit in there. They know they're good, but now they're bringing those performances to the table as well. Whereas before, they'd had great personnel. Nobody was brave enough to say, oh, I'm not sure. No, Aubameyang's doing it, and Ramsey doesn't mind.
And if I could add to that, they knew they'd be in the team come what may. That's the difference, isn't it?
Exactly.
Now you've got to do it, otherwise you're not in the team.
All of a sudden now, like Coutinho, which I would never ever have said, because I was always in the camp of Coutinho at Liverpool, or don't sell him, because you can still buy Van Dijk and you can buy Naby Keita. All of a sudden now, Liverpool look a better team.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately for Mesut Ozil, now, what I saw yesterday is Arsenal looking a better team when he's not in it.
Yeah. What about Torreira? We could probably put together a loop about an hour and a half long of us two over the last few years, us three over the last few years going, Arsenal need a defensive midfielder, they need a terrier, they need a ratter, they missed Gilberto Silva, they missed Patrick Vieira. Martin Keown, who kicked lumps out of you two, said in the paper today it's the best display he's seen from a player in that position in a North London derby, wearing an Arsenal shirt since the Vieira-Gilberto Silva days.
And what did he cost? 26.5 million from Sampdoria. I mean, a brilliant signing, had a great World Cup, and it's exactly what Arsenal have been.
That's in English League football, is it? You see somebody ratting and tackling, and the whole crowd goes, fantastic.
No, he's doing it. It's like brilliant, because what he does, he sets the tone. First minute in, he will go, bang, there's a 50-50 one. And all of a sudden, players around him go, right, we need to do that as well. So Unai Emery certainly set the standards now, hasn't he? And if you don't come up to those standards, you're not going to be in the team.
And you know, I do like that you can see the players now thinking to themselves, well, I've got to do this right, and they're taking care with their passing. They're taking care with their defending. It means something again now to wear the Arsenal shirt because the gaffer's making it that way. So I've got to play my best to play the next game. Brilliant.
And then you know what that does? That means training's more intense. Because players now, from a Monday to a Friday, if you've got a Saturday or Sunday game, will think, right, I need to train hard, because I'm not sure with this manager I'm going to be in the side come Saturday. Whereas for a long time under Arsene, it was a given, and we could probably pick 10 in the 11 that was starting every single week. Now players are on their toes.
It's going to be a good battle between the two of them all the way to the end for 4th spot, isn't it? Maybe 3rd, but I think let's say for now, could be a proper head-to-head between these two, couldn't it?
Surprised me, Mark. Honestly, I thought, you know, coming into your first job of your Unai Emery, anywhere near top 6 would have been very good, maybe a cup run, and changing the vibe in and around the dressing room and the stadium. But certainly now Arsenal are looking the real deal. And as I said, they always needed that statement win, got a good draw against Liverpool, but beating your rivals, all of a sudden now people are going 19 games in unbeaten. Forget the first 2, because they didn't happen because they were very early on. Now you look at Arsenal thinking, they've got every chance of top 4.
You can tell that Arsenal are doing well because they're now back in the vocabulary of people when they're talking in conversation.
Yeah.
People are talking about Arsenal. What about Arsenal? What about Arsenal? Before, never mentioned them.
No.
Now, Emery's coming. We're talking about Arsenal in that top 4 championship at two or 3 years' time. But they're there. They're being spoken about.
Big game at Old Trafford this weekend. That'll be another sort of statement match. Now, I think Tottenham have been quite hard done by the fixture computer, haven't they? Here, which just happened. So they had the statement win over Chelsea, great late win over Inter Milan, so they're still in it. And then to play Arsenal, that is... And listen, it's their own doing that they didn't strengthen the squad, so that has to be said. But you're right to think it's a bit harsh on Tottenham.
It is. I mean, it's an excuse, but it's a valid one. You know, when you've put so much work into beating Chelsea, then you go and get a famous result against Inter Milan.
The second half they'd gone, haven't they? Physically, mentally.
Emotionally getting that win in the Champions League. Now all of a sudden, emotionally they're coming buzzing, obviously, but tired because of they know they've got a chance now of qualifying. And then you go into that game where you think, Arsenal, I think, off the top of my head, I think rested 10 players.
Yeah, Holding was the only one who played in the Europa League.
Rested 10 players. So that's why probably the start of the game, because Arsenal completely beat Tottenham up in the first 20 minutes. Tottenham looked very leggy. And I think it was because of the last 2 games.
Was there anybody else
more than anybody?
Right now? You might bring Aubameyang into the conversation, but I think you're right.
I trust this guy every time.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So emphatic with his penalties, you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't try to con the goalkeeper.
The goalkeeper with his eyes.
Yeah, he doesn't try to do anything flash. It's the old adage of when you're on the training ground and the coach gives you a bag of balls and he goes, right, whip that into the side netting. It doesn't matter if the goalkeeper goes the right way. If you hit it with enough power and your accuracy is good, you're going to score 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Look like
or it bounces off the bar and let's say he leaves it bounces off the bar and Origi.
Either or it goes up in the air and you go, that's going over, and it goes in, you'd look a real clown.
But actually, I think we're all saying is tip it over and back your defence, which has played very well, to clear the corner.
Yeah.
Because it's the last action of the match.
But I know what he's thinking, Jordan Pickford, and what he's thinking is, in the dying seconds of the game, I'm not going to give Liverpool one more chance by conceding the corner. In hindsight, that's exactly what he should have done.
Yeah,
of
course.
But you've got to sometimes put yourself in the scenario, put yourself in that. In that game, in the last seconds, emotions are high. Sometimes your brain gets scrambled. You see with Jurgen Klopp's reaction when he ran on. That's not the reactions of a man that knows exactly where he is.
No.
You know, he's just lost control.
How we spotted Origi getting the ball out.
I know. Because Origi is so emotional. Origi scores. He thinks it's 1-1 or they're losing. He grabs the ball as if to say, we need another one, lads. No, you don't.
Get that ball in the stand.
Get it and boot it. That's what I'm saying. That's why sometimes you score and something happens in a game, and we've all been there where you do not have a clue what you're doing or where you are.
He shouldn't have run on the pitch, but are we that cross with Jurgen?
What it is, Mark, it's a fine because you can't leave your technical area and you can't go on the pitch. Is inciting the Evertonians.
No.
I don't think he's having a little pop at Marco Silva or their bench. I think he's lost control. He's celebrated with his own teammate, Alisson, ran on, give him a sort of high-five jump, ran off.
Again, you could possibly take the same argument that Don's made for the players not knowing what to do when you score. The bench have gone, what do? We can't believe we've won this one. Nobody expected to win that game. That game was finished. You know, nobody expected to win it, and then you win it, and it's like, we've got all 3 points.
How have we done that?
What do we do?
Especially when Man City are flying. And a draw against Everton would have been a very good result in terms of how
I'd written it all down.
played.
We'll be 4 points behind, and Man City, today Man City's goal difference is 15 better. So it was going to be 16. So we'd have given them another point, so that would have been a 5-point lead.
And off the top of my head,
that's 2 points.
That's only 1 goal dropped at Anfield for Liverpool. So it was majorly important.
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, in reflection, if it's a 0-0, you know, Everton were sensational in the game. What I think one of the best performances I've seen from Everton going to Anfield in a long, long time. Because arguably, they could have won the game. Some people might say a draw was the fair result, whatever. But then when Liverpool nick it in not the 89th minute,
the 96th.
not 80, 96th, with the last kick of the game, and in bizarre circumstances, it's nuts.
And
you
what he's got his arm up for, it's just...
And you think that is your chance. You've come on a sub, that's your chance. Gone, nothing else, done. 0-0. Brilliant.
I call this the Merseyside derby. I should have called it the Don Hutchison derby.
I can't win, Mark.
You cannot win.
I try to stay away from social media because everyone's always desperate for me to get a prediction in.
Yeah.
No way. I'm
saying
saying 50-50.
They're learning their trade at 22 and 20.
I'm playing top football.
At this level. Wow.
Happy days.
Happy
You'd want to
days.
So jealous.
Oh, yeah, so jealous.
Jealous in a good
No,
way.
I mean, I'd be paid nothing at playing that team.
Oh, I'd score 60 if I played with them.
Yeah, you took it too far, though. We're not playing for nothing.
No, not playing with that.
You went too far there.
Steady on, Mark.
Let's too predictable at the moment.
So Arsenal above Tottenham on goal difference. So 1 point separate the three London teams now. Liverpool. You could see how vital that win was. As I said, with a minute to go, it's 34 points, goal difference 21. It was effectively a 5-point lead for City.
I'm just looking further down, Mark, and I'm thinking match day 14 and Man United are 16 points off City.
I know. And they're 8 points off the Champions League. So actually, Man United at home to Arsenal on Wednesday is huge for United, obviously.
So every week I ask you,
Yeah.
you can't win the title.
No.
Right, you've admitted that. Top 4.
No. No.
Really?
No.
No? No confidence?
I haven't seen it. Yeah, that's what it is.
I interviewed Phil Neville in the canteen.
Is gone.
I interviewed Phil Neville in the canteen on Saturday morning, and I said to him, come on then, Phil, give us a prediction for Southampton. He went, I just don't know. And I think for a Man U ex-player, fan watching, you don't know what you're going to get. No. You don't know.
But confidence can obviously disappear quickly. Can it reappear just as quickly?
Only through performances. Man United players you're talking about?
Yes.
Or
I'm talking about anybody.
I think only through
a footballer.
Only through performances can your confidence come back, and wins. That's the only way your confidence will come back. At the moment, for me, Manchester United have got the manager and they've got the players. There's nothing in between. They're not together.
United.
No, there's nothing. There's a big void of this is what he wants from the players. Players don't really like him because there's too many bad eggs in there. We already know who they are. There's no togetherness. There's no harmony at Man United.
Normally, the way to rectify that is time on the training ground. And you make training fun, and you might do an activity where you go golfing or go-karting or something to try and get that bond closer together. I can't imagine the Man United players driving into work being excited and looking forward to their day.
No.
I think it's hard work for them at the minute.
No, it is. Kind of player now that needs to be playing week in, week out Loftus-Cheek because he's affecting football matches for Chelsea.
Well, Sarri said he could play a big part for Chelsea this season. So what are we now? The 3rd of December today? So obviously the window opens in 3.5 weeks' time. He and Chelsea, they've got a big decision to make because we all know what's happened this season. Barkley's done well.
Yes.
Kovacic has come in. Competition for places is intense. You talk about what's happening at Arsenal, which is good. But from Loftus-Cheek's point of view, if he thinks I'm not going to get enough game time, then he might think about January. But he should. This is the 1 month he should do.
Yes.
Teams are playing on average. Obviously, they've got the League Cup as well, and they've got the Europa League. They're playing on average every 3 or 4 days. He should get enough game time.
So what position is he, Don? Would you say is he a holder or is he a 10?
No, he's not a holder. I think he's in between. I think he's an 8, an 8 or a 10. I was listening to Ray Lewington at Crystal Palace talk about him, and he said in the sort of coach's manual when they're talking, he said they identify sort of positions on the pitch and areas on the pitch. And Ray Lewington said, you've either got a big box player or you've got small box players. Yeah. And he mentioned Messi being a small box player, great in tight areas. You do, 10 yard by 10, you play little sort of intricate passes, you can wriggle out of anywhere. Then you've got the big box players like the Gerrard and the Lampards that can go box to box.
So they cover lots of ground.
Exactly, and they're easy on the eye.
He covers lots of ground with that physique.
Well, what Ray Lewington said, he's both. He said, he said box to box. He went, he can glide past anyone. He's elegant in his running style. He went, you're given the ball in training in small areas. He went, his technical ability is first class. So in terms of a number, I'm thinking you can wear an 8 and play in that 3 in midfield. Kante, Jorginho and Loftus-Cheek. Then you've got Willian, you've got Pedro, you've got Hazard, you've got Giroud, you've got Mata.
So who could do with a Loftus-Cheek if he was wanting to leave? Who could do with a player like that right now? A Man United?
Newcastle? I know, I'm
Crystal Palace. Well, obviously Palace again.
Because they had him.
I think you could argue anybody outside the top 6 or 7.
Do you know what I would think, Mark? If I was him, and I said it in the summer, I said it in week 1, I would have had the conversation with Maurizio Sarri if I was Loftus-Cheek, and I would have looked him in the eye and I would have said, am I guaranteed to be in and around your squad? I know you can't guarantee me starts, but do you see me as a part of your first team squad? Yeah. Because if you don't, that's fine. And then what I'll do is I'll go to a club like Newcastle or Palace or whoever, and I'll go on loan and I'll get my number of games in, I'll get my legs and I'll get strong and I'll get confident, and I'm there for you if you want to bring me back. And that's the conversation I think he has to have.
Absolutely. Emery Stadium, where James Burford can give us the very latest on the search for a new manager for Southampton after Mark Hughes' dismissal.
He'd only been in the post as Southampton manager for 8 months. It had not been a long time in charge for Mark Hughes, but unfortunately the statistics speak for themselves. He only won 13.6% of all his Premier League games in charge of Southampton, and in losing his job, he becomes the very first person to be sacked twice in the space of a calendar year in the Premier League. So what next for Southampton Football Club? Well, the assistant coach, the former goalkeeper, Kelvin Davis, will take caretaker charge for the match against Tottenham at Wembley on Wednesday in the Premier League. He's going to give a press conference later. It will be very interesting to hear what he has to say, but there are already potential candidates to replace Mark Hughes as Southampton manager. You'll remember the former Watford manager, Quique Sanchez-Flores. He's an early contender to replace Hughes, but also a couple of other names in the mix. The former Everton and Sunderland manager, David Moyes, as well as Craig Shakespeare. So it's going to be a very interesting time here at St Mary's in the days and weeks to come.
Andy'd been speaking to Mark Bowen a lot, and he said, look, we've got to get some results. Shame is, after coming off the back of a good draw against Man United and playing well, it's a shame for the timing. But when you analyse what Mark Hughes has been doing over the period, as you said, I think 3 wins in the calendar year and really struggling to score goals, it was coming for him. I reckon there's probably 7 or 8 clubs in the Premier League would love that for.
Yeah.
Oh, love that front
definitely.
four.
And they've got Lamina in midfield, who's playing the Champions League final. They've got McCarthy in goal, who's an England goalkeeper. They've got Ward-Prowse.
Redmond's on fire. Redmond's on fire as well.
I was about to say it's a good job, isn't it?
Well, it's a great job.
I think it's a good job. I think it's a good club.
Yes.
It's a very well-run club.
It's a great job. I mean, alarming how many managers have had Southampton, but even more alarming is how many players have sold over the years.
Yes.
That has to stop.
Yeah. And we managed to get through the whole thing, really, without talking about Man United.
Yes.
There'll be plenty of time in the future.
That was purposely done.
On Wednesday night, when Man United play Arsenal.
I know. I'm Jose Mourinho. I'm going to say, what should we do in terms of our tactics? Should we go 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, or should we go 5 at the back against Southampton?
Let's go 5. Let's go 5.
With one centre forward tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work.